Thank you. Member for Kirinyaga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the motion by the Honourable Member. Mr. Speaker, it is not only young people that are plagued by betting. Mr. Speaker, if you go to the villages, and by this I'm pertaining even Kirinyaga County, you find that we now have a different system where all people are lured into betting by media stations. Mr. Speaker, I remember there's a time, there was a conversation on the social platforms of this nation, specifically Twitter, in regard to the addiction and the havoc betting is reigning in the villages. Mr. Speaker, I remember a neighbor of mine, I think they sold the cow. The only thing they did not sell was the dog. And I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, it was hell for that family, because you find that it creates conflict in the villages. And Mr. Speaker, unregulated, anything that is unregulated is something that is poisonous, Mr. Speaker, because we normally say that too much of anything is poison, Mr. Speaker. I am calling upon this House to embrace regulating the betting industry, Mr. Speaker. And must think of it expansively. We cater for every genre. For the young people of this nation, Mr. Speaker, they are driven to betting because of desperation, Mr. Speaker. We have a culture nowadays, you know, in the slangs, we call it glamming. You know, people want to get rich overnight. People want to bet to richness, Mr. Speaker. And these young people, they're people who have gone to universities, Mr. Speaker. As I speak, and I speak as a young person of this nation, before I joined Parliament, Mr. Speaker, I was unemployed, Mr. Speaker. That does not mean that I am uneducated, Mr. Speaker. I am a qualified advocate of the High Court, but I have colleagues who up to date have never found employment. I have people who started medicine and different careers, Mr. Speaker. So it is something that we need to look from a wholesome perspective, Mr. Speaker. Besides regulating it, what are we doing to empower our people, Mr. Speaker? What are we doing to sensitize our people in the villages? Mr. Speaker, if you listen to any of the local stations, you will realize that most of them have a program where apparently you win some amount of money, Mr. Speaker. And I remember at some point it was discovered that the person that is being called on the other end of the line has been notified. It's sort of like a game they play to dupe the masses to give their money. But the person is given a portion of the money, and then the rest of the money is kept by the station, Mr. Speaker. We must investigate. Why are media stations engaging in betting, Mr. Speaker? Why is it unregulated, Mr. Speaker? So I call upon these members to look at it from a wholesome perspective, Mr. Speaker, so that we can cater and ensure that we protect our people from exploitation, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support the motion.
Thank you. Mafonyatike.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this chance you have given to me. I stand to support the motion by Honorable Mutembei, but I want us to agree on a number of issues. The focus, we are putting a lot of focus on the youth. I think we are missing the point, because when you talk of betting, majority of people who are betting currently are adults. And those youths, majority of them, are seeing this thing happening